Screaming 800 horsepower engines echo through the farmlands of Windsor as Steam-a-rama welcomes the fastest of the fleet. The modified Tuff trucks roar to life, and today the flyers from the Empire battle it out with those from the home field. The modified Tuff trucks invade the borough of Windsor. Welcome to Steam-a-rama 2021. Last time out, it was the stock four-wheel drive class. Some of those guys will be returning today, but in doing so, they're going to be put up against upwards of 800 horsepower, nearly 26 inches of suspension travel, and some of the fastest Tuff trucks in the world. It's going to be awesome. Stay tuned, because when we come back, the modifieds take to the sky.
This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by Monsters Monthly. For up-to-date show, ticket info, and a wide selection of photo and video galleries, visit monstersmonthly.com. And by RPM Army, featuring action-packed content from around the web. Visit rpmarmy.com, your source for motorsports on the go.
Hey, welcome to Wild Man Adventures. We're at the Silver Lake Sand Dragway. There really wasn't any off-roading back then. It was all off-road. We're on our way to Lima, Ohio. Got wooden wheels.
Oh, it's slippery as all get out of.
Hey, we're here with Rich Cummins. Hey, we're here with Mike Potter.
Hey, we're here with Alan Pizzo.
Gotta check it out. This week we're going to go down memory lane.
Welcome back to Windsor. Steam-a-rama 2021 underway. A little track watering occurring right now as we wait to get into our round one bracket with the modified Tuff trucks. We're running a single bracket today, and as I mentioned at the top of the show, some of these guys running as much as 800 horsepower, and one of those is Mike Loophole, who'll take on Ronnie Belscheit in round number one. Doug Paust and Spencer Nolte will go at it. It'll be William Wallace up against Jimmer Martin. That's two pairs with a stock on one side and a mod on the other. Then Dustin Fenstermaker, Jeremiah Creasy, Jeremy Dietrich, and Ron Myers, and Joe Merkel up against Scott Martin. Then it's Jake Nichols, the Godfather, taking on Thomas Faust. That one sticks out to me. That should be an awesome run. We'll see here in round number one. Zach Leapart and Stephen Reeves should be interesting. Two stock four-wheel drives, but two guys that will definitely go hard enough to win here today. And then Brett Sponenberg, a mod, taking on Chris Wolf in a stock. Should be some awesome racing as the track watering is done. They've given a little time to settle, but there's definitely going to be some mud on top of this thing. Mike Loophole, part of Team Foytoy, with that big 800 horsepower Ford engine, a Jeep chassis underneath of that Ford body. This is a truck that they put together for 2019 after Loophole destroyed the original Warhorse. Now lined up side by side with Ronnie Belscheit, one of the East Coast four-wheel drive regulars in the Outrage Jeep. And Loophole comes flying out of the hole. See if he can handle this muddy dirt here on the near side. Still digging down and making dust, but you can see some shiny spots on this track. Loophole, though, not looking too bad as he heads through what's called the Talladega turn. Belscheit making quick work of the switchbacks. Outrage hanging in there right now. He can get the job done. This could get tight here at the end. Belscheit right where he needs to be. He's got to stay on the power. Loophole coming into the Talladega turn. They're going to be right there together. But Belscheit gets on top of the berm, and that'll hand the victory over to Mike Loophole in a hard-charging Warhorse out of the state of New York. Belshide will have to wait till next time to try to get into the final round. Now, a guy out of the stock four-wheel drive class, that's Doug Paust in the Solo Cup. Grand Cherokee taking on this little blue CJ. Another member of the East Coast four-wheel drive contingent, that's Spencer Nolte. Little short-wave wheel-based vehicle, excuse me. And believe me, Paust may be outpowered in this pairing in the red Jeep, but he's not outmatched. He can get the job done. You see, Nolte still going to have to lay down an awesome run, but how is he going to handle the mud? A lot of slipping and sliding right now, waiting on this track to dry out. Paust working his way nicely through those switchbacks. Nolte having a little trouble dealing with the mud, it looks like, slowing down quite a bit, trying to keep the thing out of the weeds. If you get all four tires into the grass, it's a DQ, and Nolte's going to have to go. Some Paust getting himself in trouble right there. Nice drive, the hatch banging around on the back of the Solo Cup. Let's see, how can he handle the mud? Paust actually has the lead right now as he heads down toward the final turn. I don't think Nolte's got a prayer of winning this one, so the big horsepower not going to come into play here. Actually, it may have been the thing that took him out, not able to handle the wet side of this track. Doug Paust taking the victory over the modified right here, the stock four-wheel drive Jeep, moving on into the next round of racing. Here comes one of the bad boys of Tuff Trucks. That is Jimmer Martin. Bad Intentions. He'll be coming into stage against another one of our stock four-wheel drive class vehicles. That is William Wallace, who we did not expect to see in this class after what he put this Jeep through in the stock class, but here we are. Jimmer Martin, definitely not one to be trifled with. You see, kind of launching sideways off the starting line there. The Bad Intentions Bronco going deep in a very wet corner. Getting wild. He's all over the track. Long as you keep it out of the weeds and go around the cones, you'll be all right, but he's in big trouble as he locks it up in the Talladega turn. That big horsepower may be costing him right now. The track is not in ideal condition, and it's hurting him. William Wallace going to try to take advantage of it now as he is a short lane. Coming back around this time. Jimmer Martin and Bad Intentions. He's got to go some. Will we have another upset? William Wallace up on the berm. Martin is right there. He's going to lay on the power, and right there is going to be a battle of horsepower as Jimmer Martin crosses the finish line. It wasn't pretty, but he'll go on into round number 2. Here comes one of the legends of the East Coast four-wheel drive contingent. That is Dustin Fenstermaker in a new machine called Wreck-It Ralph. Take on the wild man of the four-wheel drive stock class. It's Jeremiah Creasy Jr. in the Old Mill Auto Sales Grand Cherokee. Look shots are working. He's up on the berm, though. Fenstermaker trying to keep it legal. Looking pretty good right now, though. He's not overdriving the course, but he's not laying off the throttle. And Creasy Jr. is in trouble. He's got another flat tire. This is the third flat tire he has had this week, and now he's into the Uke tires. If you go back and watch our stock four-wheel drive coverage, Creasy kept blowing tires and still made it into the trophy run against Gary Green, but it's not the way it's going to go down here in the modified class. Dustin Fenstermaker with the Wreck-It Ralph machine. Moving on into the next round, Jeremiah Creasy Jr. will take his last ride down the track for the weekend. A disappointing way to go out of this class, but you can see the rim on the ground there. You see Owen Sargent, of our BCP camera operators, up on top of the sea container as we bring our next pairing to the line. Another East Coast four-wheel drive regular. Jeremy Dietrich. That Jeep covered in mud, by the way, is normally bright green. He's going to take on Ron Myers, shorter wheelbase machine here on the near side. Advantage has to go to Dietrich, and it looks like it's definitely going to because Myers doesn't even get off the starting line.
Right off the start, Ron didn't get going.
Dietrich pushing that low side. Just got to keep it legal at this point. I don't see any prayer for Myers to make up that much distance, especially on that short side because he's going to have the long side the second run around. There you see Dietrich mowing down some cones, but he's not off in the grass. Almost was. Trying to hang in there. Dirt tracking around. Whoa! Almost gets off the course again.
2 tires on the track.
And he just about lapped Ron Myers. As Dietrich, if he can keep this run legal, just barely held it on the track. In fact, we may get another ruling before this is done, but look at that wild ride over the final tabletop. And Dietrich will cross the finish line for the victory. And we will take a quick break and be back with more round 1 action from our modified Tuff trucks. There you see the Rotten Banana headed to the starting line, a legend from the East Coast 4-Wheel Drive Association, and the Donkey hauling ass, Scott Martin, in tow. Stay with us. Welcome back to Windsor as round 1 of the modified Tuff Trucks class continues. There you see Joe Merkel in the Rotten Banana, a legend of the East Coast 4-Wheel Drives, taking on one of the Empire Flyers. That's Scott Martin in the Foy-Toy racing machine called Haulin' Ass. It's a Craftsman Truck Series body with a Craftsman Truck Series cage and a ton of off-road componentry underneath. The heaviest machine of that team, taking on one of the wildest looking machines in the modified division, that being Joe Merkel, who is pushing that thing hard. Look at the big cloud of dust. He just showered the clock man in dirt and mud. Scott Martin looking a little slow, actually, down the first leg. It looks like he might be having a fuel issue as Joe Merkel works his way very well through those switchbacks. Martin kind of looking to have the advantage right now, but they're actually pretty even up. He's got to go some, though. Merkel should be able to take quick advantage of this short side of the track. He's looking good through the crossover, and now Merkel is out in the lead. Scott Martin is gonna have to pick up the pace as Merkel heads down the final leg. He's in trouble, though. Off the track, he's in the grass. I'm not sure if it was all 4 tires or not, but Scott Martin, if he can keep it legal, has the free pass to the finish line. Merkel back underway, will go ahead and finish the run, but an unfortunate turn of events as the buckshots broke loose and he ended up in the grass again right there. I'm wondering if he's got a broken front end. We'll get another look at it right here. Watch Merkel come out here. He had a good run going. It was on this turn. Now watch him drift into this corner. He counter steers, and it just caught traction or something, and with the front end pointed at that direction, once he got it locked up, he was looking at the guardrail. Now, this should be a matchup to watch in the near lane. Thomas Faust in Mad Money out of the Keystone State. The Little Green Ranger taking on the godfather of Tuff Truck Racing. That is Jake Nichols in the legendary Foy-Toy Bronco. 700 plus horsepower in the front of that machine. Faust in the Ranger looking good. Might be outpowered, but he's not going to be outdriven. Faust cooking through the crossover right there, heading into the second leg. Jake Nichols now through the crossover, both of them trying to keep the hammer down. Slowing up to make that corner. They are very tight. Faust needs to go a little bit. Nichols headed down with a slight lead toward the Talladega turn. He's up on the berm. He's going to give away a little. Faust. Can he counter back? They're right there together. And a huge leap through the traps in the air into the Uke tires in the shutdown area. Jake Nichols living up to a lot of hype. If you've never seen that guy run, he always puts on a show. He will pick up that victory, and he used every bit of shutdown area. You can see he actually came into the turn with the advantage, but Faust picked it up coming out, and then Nichols just pulled the trigger and actually broke the timing lasers with the rear tires as he slides, not quite to a stop. He got into the boundary markers. They're the big Uke tires that keep you from going into the paddock. Lucky those were there. He said they might ought to push those things back, but I don't think they knew quite what they were going to be getting out of the Foy Toy team. Now a pair of four-wheel drive stock trucks rolling to the line to compete in this modified class. Zach Leapart, the fastest Amishman in the Keystone State, in the far lane, taking on Stephen Reeves in that Bigfoot tribute painted Leadfoot Jeep. This should be an interesting matchup. Both of these guys running in a little bit less horsepower class, or a lot less horsepower class, I should say, but two of the hardest chargers in that class. Reeves making his way through the short side and down toward the Talladega turn. He's a little deep, but he apexes and comes out nicely. Leapart made his way through the switchbacks, though, very quickly. This could be a tight matchup right now. Leapart making his way toward the penultimate turn and down the final full stretch toward the Talladega turn. How will Reeves handle the switchbacks? This one is gonna get tight. Reeves hammering it through that final turn. It's gonna be tight. Leapart with a big launch and a hard hit at the end of the run. We're going to watch that one again. Watch the right lane. He picks up the victory, but he slammed that thing at the end of the run. Reeves didn't take an easy ride either. In fact, we're getting word that Leapart is going to have to be towed off the track. He's going to get checked over by medical personnel, because watch him in the cab. Bang into the steering wheel, and Leapart will be done for the afternoon. A hard lick right there. Reeves also won't be back, but they put on a show for the time they were on the track. Now we get on with racing. Brett Sponenberg, another member of the Team Foy Toy Racing group, if you couldn't tell by the Bronco-bodied machine, taking on Chris Wolf, another stock four-wheel drive legend, headed down track right now. Sponenberg got to be the favorite on paper. But we've seen some upsets earlier on today. Can Wolf upset the big horsepower of the Foy Toy Racing entry? Sponenberg with a new engine in this machine. Chris Wolf not looking too bad. He's keeping pace with a little problem right there. He had to avoid going off the track. How Sponenberg handles the switchbacks will determine who gets the victory. Wolf is going to be right there with him. Sponenberg trying to drive out. He's upside down. Brett Sponenberg flips beer money, and we get another upset in the modified class. Another stock four-wheel drive going on to the next round. Sponenberg moving around in the cockpit. He does appear to be okay. He gave the track crew the thumbs up. Pops out of it. Some very well-maintained vehicles. Sponenberg not ending his day the way he hoped he would, but not disappointing the crowd here either. Sponenberg out of Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, with a long history, a second-generation driver in this sport. Been on his top before. We've been there. In fact, had one of the wildest crashes we've ever seen when he barrel-rolled this machine back in 2017. We're going to get another look at the run here in a moment, but right now they're going to try to go ahead and right this truck. It looks like they were calling for the loader, but I guess they're just going to use some manpower, get this machine back over on all four. You see the fire and EMT crew right there on the spot as well, just in case something goes wrong. A wild ride for Brett Sponenberg. It's probably the prettiest we've seen that truck looking in some time, and he just mangled the front end of that body. Back up and over. And Brett Sponenberg done for the day here in Windsor as we take another look at the ride he just took. See him coming in, and what'll happen is the rear tires will dig into that loam. He's running those buckshots, and he just got into some heavy dirt. It hooked, and it went over quick. Rolling on the nose. Brett Sponenberg. Would have been a close race there with Chris Wolf. I think if he could have gotten in the straight, though, he could have outpowered Wolf down to the finish line. No question, with that big 700-plus horsepower engine. Here's a look at Wolf's run. He had a good one going. Take nothing away from him. He was making Sponenberg work for it, and that's why that happened. I think Sponenberg saw him laid into the throttle in that corner, and it was just too much for how deep the dirt gets in that berm and over on his head. We're not done yet, though. We got another round coming up for you. When we come back to Windsor, the bracket continues. Stay with us. The big boys, the modified Tuff trucks on tap here at Steam-a-rama in Windsor, Pennsylvania as we get ready for our round 2 bracket. Our modified class, Mike Leupold will take on Doug Paus. That'll be a mod against a 4-wheel drive stock. Then it'll be Jimmer Martin. Bad Intentions taking on Wreck-It Ralph, driven by Dustin Fenstermaker. Scott Martin take on Jeremy Dietrich, and it'll be Chris Wolf against Jake Nichols. You see there is one Foy toy machine in every pairing of this bracket, that being Mike Leupold, Jimmer Martin, Scott Martin, and Jake Nichols. Of course, at the bottom of the bracket, Chris Wolf, who has done a ton of racing here today. Not having an easy go of it, but he didn't make it easy on himself to begin with. Now, as we roll our first pairing of round 2 to the line, there you see Mike Leupold in the Warhorse. As I mentioned, that is a Jeep frame underneath of that Bronco body. This team also has another truck called the Swamp Donkey. It's a Jeep-bodied machine on top of a Bronco frame. So go figure that one out. He lines up next to one of the veterans of the 4-wheel drive stock class, that being Doug Paus in the Solo Cup entry out of the state of Pennsylvania. So it'll be the Appalachian New York Bronco, the Warhorse, the modified with 800 horsepower under the hood, taking on the stock. Well, I will say is probably going to be outmatched in this one. They don't normally say that about Doug Paus, but he is really going to have to lay into the power that Jeep has to try to beat Mike Leupold to the finish line. However, this track has thrown some curveballs because it's not an easy track to navigate. Paus, little trouble in that turn, but he manages to get himself through it. He needs to make up a ton of ground, though. They should not be at that crossover together. If you're going to the slow side of the track and you're meeting your opponent there, you're already way behind. Nothing against Doug. He can get the job done, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen on this day, as Mike Leupold is already making his way down into his final turn. The Talladega turn, headed back toward the final tabletop jump. Nice smooth leap right there, and he'll head through the traps with the victory. Doug Paus. See what he does for his final turn. He's probably going to take it easy now. Little air right there. Wondered if he would fly it, since that's going to be his last run through the finish line on this weekend here in Windsor, Pennsylvania. Up next, Jimmer Martin in Bad Intentions. Talk about a guy who can run with the best of them. A lot of concentration on this guy's face when he rolls up to the line. He's going to need it because he's matching up with one tough customer, that being Dustin Fenstermaker in Wreck-It Ralph. New machine for him here against a guy who's definitely got his bearings in the Bad Intentions Bronco, another clone Bronco off of that Foy Toy racing team. He's got his love those Broncos.
Martin in the
definitely get the job done for him. Let's see. Can Fenstermaker get the better of Martin? Thought he was going to overdrive that turn, but he made a perfect one instead. Fenstermaker looking nice and smooth right now. Jimmer Martin working through those switchbacks very quickly. To the long side goes Wreck-It Ralph. He's in the loop. Martin through the crossover, over the tabletop, and now to the short side. Ralph in the switchbacks. Fenstermaker at the wheel. Lifting the inside left front tire off the ground. They're close. Martin a little high on the berm. Tries to power back, but the rear end gets loose. Gets a big leap across the tabletop, but it's not going to be enough. He tried to get the tires to hook up, but it was for naught. Dustin Fenstermaker, the Keystone State Jeep, going on into the semifinal round. And another look at the way he came around that final turn. Look at him, they were close in there, but watch Martin stood in the throttle. He got into the grass a little bit, kind of juked the rear end around on him, and there was no hope once that thing got sideways. He's putting the power toward the right side of the track and to back out of the throttle and stand, and then again try to get to catch. Had a huge leap across the final jump. The truck looked good, but not quite enough for Jimmer Martin. A solid run for him, though. Take nothing away from that guy. He will make you work for a win, and he did so with Fenstermaker. Now, Scott Martin, another member of Team Foy Toy. As I said, there's one in each pairing in this bracket. He takes on Jeremy Dietrich in a Jeep that, as I mentioned, is normally bright green in color, but it's completely covered in mud today. You guys still take these trucks out and play with them. Scott Martin looking pretty good. He mauls a cone, but he did not get on the wrong side of it, so it was a legal turn. He's looking good right now. Much better run this time around than he had in round number one as he works his way through the loop. Dietrich made short work of those switchbacks. Let's see. Beautiful turn for Dietrich. This one could be close at the end. Martin trying to hang in there. Dietrich over the berm. They're right there together on the finish line, and Martin putting the foot to it. Who got there first? I thought Martin had it, but Dietrich looked like he came back on him at the finish line.
Less than 2 tenths of a second for Scott Martin.
It will be Scott Martin in hauling ass, the Martin Towing Ford F-150 out of Owego, New York, taking the victory. And watch the final drive to the end. You have got to tip your hat to Jeremy Dietrich. Almost wasted the rear end of that truck as hard as he went. And another look at it. He had some beautiful turns in that run. Martin laying on that big Windsor horsepower, trying at the end. Up and over the berm is what I think hurt Dietrich the most, but you can see both of them leaning on the horsepower. And right there, the sideways landing cost Dietrich. Had the track been another 5 feet, he may have been able to knock out Scott Martin. That was an awesome matchup. And now we go to our final pairing of this round. Chris Wolf in the stock 4-wheel drive up against Jake Nichols with the big horsepower in the Foy Toy Ford Bronco. The Jeep Grand Cherokee here on the near side. Again, definitely outmatched. He's going to get out muscled, but can he outdrive Jake Nichols? Look at that corner. Chris Wolf trying to hang in there with these big boys. He can do it. He's behind right now, but Nichols still has to make a legal run, and as you've seen, anything can happen. Chewing up the track in the Foy Toy as those buckshots dig in. He's through the final corner, a little high on the berm, trying to keep out of the grass, keep the run legal as Nichols knows he's got the win. He's not going to bonsai it through the finish line like he did the last time, but he will pick up the victory and move on into our semifinal round. We got more coming your way. The semis coming up next. Dustin Fenstermaker heads back to the starting line to take on Mike Loopold.
Looking for quality graphics? Look no further than Bradley Shaw Designs, specializing in graphic designs for banners, vinyl wraps, posters, promotional items, and more. For more info, check out BradleyShawDesigns.com.
The Final Four about to get underway here in the modified tough truck class in Windsor, Pennsylvania. We take a look at the bracket. Here is how it will work out. Dustin Fenstermaker, the Wreck-It Ralph machine, taking on Mike Leupold in the Warhorse. Leupold with the biggest horsepower here. And then it's Scott Martin in the Windsor-powered Haul and Ass, taking on his friend and teammate, the Godfather, Jake Nichols, in the legendary Foy Toy, the White Bronco, out of the state of Pennsylvania, right there on the New York border. Right here, you're looking at a New Yorker taking on a Keystone. And interestingly enough, you're looking at a pair of Jeeps on the starting line. As I mentioned, the Warhorse Bronco bodied, but it's a Jeep frame underneath. But he's got that big Ford horsepower as he takes on what I believe is a Chevy-powered machine here in the near lane, that being Dustin Fenstermaker with Wreck-It Ralph. Either one of these guys could get to the final round. Two of the toughest truckers in the business going toe-to-toe here in the semi. Fenstermaker looking good right now. He's had a couple of awesome turns, but Leupold is laying into the horsepower as he comes out of the switchbacks. Where is he? Through the crossover, riding the ragged edge. He's got to be careful not to get out in that grass. Moving quick down the straightaway toward the Talladega turn. Fenstermaker trying to make up a little lost distance, but I don't think it's going to happen. Leupold with a perfect drive through that final leg will pick up the victory over a hard-charging Dustin Fenstermaker in Wreck-It Ralph. Warhorse moving on to the championship round to take on the winner of our next matchup. You got to tip your hat, though, to Dustin Fenstermaker. He gave it everything he had, but a little bobble down there in the switchbacks cost him that run. He has a lot of stake in this event. Now, we bring out a pair of friends and teammates, but two guys who will absolutely go at each other's throats when the green light goes off. The far lane, the Windsor-powered Ford. That is Scott Martin in Haul and Ass up against the Godfather of Tough Truck Racing, Jake Nichols, veteran in the Foy Toy, driving a truck that's nearly 20 years old. Both of them getting through the first turn beautifully. Handling the Talladega turn very well. Nichols riding the ragged edge. Watch that grass. He almost DQ'd himself. Little trouble right there. Martin getting a little high side action as he heads through the crossover. Hitting it hard. I think Martin might have the advantage right now. How will Nichols navigate the switchbacks? He loses a little time right there. A little sand under the wheels. And Scott Martin takes the lead out of the Talladega turn. Hauling Ass flying to victory. Great runs from our modified class here today, but Scott Martin was just on it all the way through that run. He will go to the final round to take on another one of his teammates, Mike Leupold, in the Warhorse. That will be an awesome matchup. We've seen these guys race before. And you see Brett Sponenberg and Jimmer Martin trying to get that truck cooled down before they head on into our final round. You see Leupold very patiently waiting back there for his teammate and opponent. You see the water dripping off the bottom of the engine compartment there as they try to get this truck cooled down for a final round race. In the meantime, we're going to take you through our side-by-side class that ran here as well. Austin Lair taking on Freddie Nolte. And Lair has got to be the odds-on favorite in this matchup. That thing doesn't even look like a side-by-side. It looks like it should be hanging out over here in our modified Tough Trucks class. This was a wild little matchup. They ran the same course as the Tough Trucks did here today, and Lair was just booking it around the track here in Windsor. having no problems carrying the flashing lights up the back of that thing is Freddie Nolte, in the more stock of these two vehicles, making quick work of the track, but a little more top-heavy than is Lair's machine, although Lair's been upside down himself. You can see him picking the inside tire up as he heads around these turns. You can flip one of these over very easily, but it would be Austin Lair taking the first of our side-by-side matchups. But watch Freddie Nolte on this finish line shot, almost endoing it right there. Wild ride, his co-pilot bumping the fist. They loved it, got the crowd on their feet, but don't want to see that happen. That could be an absolute catastrophe. So better bring it back down to see him wad that thing up, doing an endo at the end of the track. Now, Nadia Reineck on the far side taking on Caden Lair, one of the Lair brothers, a very similar machine to the one we just saw Austin in, but Nadia would be the point of interest in this matchup as Caden worked his way down the track. Nadia, trying to work through the switchbacks, got herself in an interesting predicament, ended up upside down.
Flag him down, flag him
Caden locking the thing up, but he would go on and take a victory and head into the semifinal round where he would meet Wayne Reineck, who got a bye run out of this first round of side-by-sides. And watch Nadia again. You'll see where she goes. She just hooks it up right there. These things are very top-heavy, and just right on over she went. There you see Austin Lair back out on the starting line. You take on Wayne Reineck. I got that wrong. I said it was Caden Lair that took on Wayne, but it was Austin Lair going into the semifinal round race with Wayne Reineck, who had a bye run in the previous round. The winner of this moves on to take on Caden Lair, and both Reinecks would have a very interesting day here in Windsor. You know, Austin would be getting around the track with no problem. Again, the more stock appearing side-by-side right there of Wayne Reineck. Austin Lair working his way through those switchbacks. Wayne didn't get caught up in the switchbacks, but it's what happens to him when he gets to the Talladega turn that would make him the point of interest of this pairing right here. Is Austin Lair making quick work, and again, this thing looks so much like one of our modified Tuff trucks. But side-by-side it is. There you see Wayne Lair getting off the track, technically a disqualification, as Austin Lair works his way through there, and Wayne Reineck right up and over as he stuffs the roof into the berm of the Talladega turn. Austin Lair moving on. Wayne Reineck A-OK, but not the way he wanted to wrap up his weekend here in Windsor, Pennsylvania. However, I think these machines take the flipping over a little better than some of our Tuff trucks do. Again, got a wild ride through the switchbacks, ended up going off the track, and then just high sides it in that loam coming in and stuffs it into the embankment there. Track crew right out there, Johnny on the spot, no problem whatsoever, but that would bring up our final round race between the Lair brothers, Austin and Caden. Austin on the left side there, the left lane now right of your screen, taking on Caden Lair in the red side-by-side. This would be a good matchup between the two brothers. You talk about driving the wheels off of their machines. These guys gave neither one an inch.
The older brother.
See how hard he's pushing that thing through the crossover. Not afraid to get on loud pedal. Very fast pair of side-by-sides right here. And Austin coming back in the green machine. Running the short side as Caden worked his way through the switchbacks. A little high side right there. They would get into the turn pretty much together. Watch the charge down the final straight. Flying in tandem across the finish line. An awesome run for the two brothers. If nothing else, they put on a show, and the money is going back home to the same household. So at least there's that, but a solid showdown those guys put on. In the meantime, we head back to the starting line for our modified Tuff Trucks Championship, and it's a pair of teammates making their way to the staging area. The red Bronco in the left lane, right of your screen. That's Mike Loophole, the Warhorse, with the Jeep frame, the big 800 horsepower engine, taking on the Windsor-powered F-150. Scott Martin in the Martin Towing hauling ass. Both of them solid run into the first leg. Talladega turn. Both of them lost a little bit of speed right there. It was like they were standing still. Loophole now through the crossover. Martin drifting around that loop, headed toward the switchback. Can Loophole take advantage of being on the short side? Martin looks like he's going to be there when Loophole gets there. Loopy with the lead going into the corner and holds the lead coming out. Nosedive at the finish, and Mike Loophole in the Warhorse will pick up the Modified Tough Trucks Championship here at Steam-a-rama in Windsor, Pennsylvania. What an awesome run for this pair of New York Fords. Team Foy-Toy out in force here, upsetting the balance a little bit when they rolled in, but they have put on a show. We'll watch the final drive to the end, and again, signature flat-footing it over the finish line for the Team Foy-Toy machines. Our congratulations to Mike Loophole and a solid run out of Scott Martin, your runner-up. This team has absolutely done what they know how to do, and that's pick up victories. And got to tip your hat to Jake Nichols. He didn't make it into the finals, but he definitely put on the show of the day with that finish line launch, bouncing through the traps. What a week it's been here in Windsor, Pennsylvania. We want to thank the East Coast Four-Wheel Drive Association, Kurt Schenberger, and the entire crew here at Steam-a-rama. For all of us at Back Channel Productions, we will see you next time.